Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Again guys, I'm sorry I'm hoarse. This video is going to be quick. I'm just going to run through it. I was going to do it locally, but I'd rather do it live and get it out the way. Tim Canova. The guy in the corner is smiling. That's Mr. Tim Canova. He's smiling because he just won his lawsuit against Deborah Wasserman-Schultz. Ultimately, Tim Canova ran in a race with Deborah Wasserman-Schultz in 2016, I believe. He lost that race. But somebody made the point to him that, look, there's something wrong. There's something screwy with that race. You need to investigate that race. Seeing as he had legions of people give him massive amounts of cash in order to run the race in the first place, he wanted to inspect the ballots. He gets word that it's going to cost, they tried to charge him like $70-some thousand to inspect the ballots. In which case, he said, I am taking you to court, and that's what he did. He filed a lawsuit. In filing the lawsuit, come to find out, months later, they destroyed the ballots. Destroying the ballots is against federal and state law. The judge, just now, or yesterday, or today, ruled that he was right, that breaking this was against federal, well, that was against the law. Broward County election chief. He won. He won the case. Tim Canova has spent like $200,000 on this. She tried to charge him $70-some thousand. The judge made the point that this is against the law, and you know this is against the law. And then the judge was somewhat unconvinced by this person saying, well, I made digital copies. The judge didn't buy that at all. They thought it was hogwash. The question becomes, what are the consequences? I mean, you just broke the law, like clearly broke the law. Rick Scott, in this case, saying they're going to send a monitor to monitor the next election, meaning the next election that takes place or whatever, they're going to send a monitor in order to oversee her. I got to be honest, that doesn't go far enough. A, they need to be sacked, and B, there needs to be federal consequences. If there's no federal consequences, what there to stop the next person from doing it? If I'm not mistaken, the last person was sacked by Jeb Bush for also being corrupt and not knowing what the fuck they were doing, or let's say incompetent. Let's be nice. Let's say incompetent. Let's take a look at the article itself. That's a snapshot. Let's look at the very specifics of it. Florida to monitor Broward election chief after judge finds unlawful ballot destruction in Wasserman-Schultz's race. The election supervisor in Florida's second most populous broke state and federal law by unlawfully destroying ballots cast in Representative Deborah Wasserman-Schultz's 2016 Democratic primary. A judge ruled Friday in a case brought by the Congresswoman's challenger, who wanted to check for voting irregularities. In light of the ruling, Governor Rick Scott administration, which has expressed concerns about how Broward County election supervisor Brenda Snipes has handled the case, told Politico that he's reviewing the judge's order and will have her office monitored. Snipes and her lawyer, Bernadette Norris Weeks, did not return an email from Politico for comment, though a consultant working for the office's behalf confirmed its receipt. Snipes' predecessor was removed from office by former Governor Jeb Bush and the Florida Senate for botching the 2002 Democratic gubernatorial primary. Essentially, they were also corrupt or incompetent, depending on your perspective in that one also. Tim Canova, a Nova Southeastern University law professor who ran against Wasserman-Schultz in 2016 and is challenging her again this year as an independent, said Scott should suspend Snipes for destroying the paper ballots while his lawsuit was ongoing. Snipes has said it was a mistake and has noted her office has made copies of the ballots. Oh, it's always a mistake. It's always a mistake. But federal election law and state public records law clearly shows the paper ballots should have been preserved by the office. This is a big fucking deal. This is election integrity. Somebody is saying, look, that election was shady. We don't believe that election was shady. And Tim Canova says, fair enough. I've had a huge amount of support. And the thing that I owe the support is to make sure that election is right. Meaning, if there's any chance that this election is not what this election is supposed to be, I am the avatar of the will of a large demographic of the public. And I am going to make sure that that will is pushed to the furthest extent that it can be pushed. Well, you can't do that if there's no ballots to check. How do I know that the election was what you said that election is if I can't even check the ballots? And you telling me that you've made copies copies. I want to see the original copies. I want to see the original ballots. And that was kind of the point. Your copies can be whatever you want those copies to be. I want to see what the original ballots are. That's the only way I can actually check this election and make sure this election, the outcome, is actually what it is. This is about election integrity. It matters. It matters a big fucking deal. Federal election law and state public records law clearly show the paper ballot should have been preserved by the office. The governor has the power to dismiss Snipes from the office for malfeasance and misfeasance, Canova said. The judge also pointed to the supervisor's bad faith for continuing to litigate for months after admitting she destroyed the ballots, which will certainly run up the cost to taxpayers. Estimated attorney fees cost Canova's lawyer more than $200,000 for more than a year of litigation. In recent years, Snipes has faced a handful of controversies and lawsuits, one of which she recently won over her handling of elections and voter information. A bipartisan group of election law experts told Politico last year that Snipes broke the law in destroying the ballots during a court case, but kept fighting in Canova's case. Now, understand from the standpoint of the judge, you said you destroyed these, and you still fight this case. Why are you continuing to fight this case if you know you broke the law? The judge is looking at that as bad faith. Why are you continuing to do this when you know damn well that what he's saying is absolutely right? Let's keep going. This is almost done. In March 2012, Freestat, acting on Canova's agent, made a public records request to inspect the ballots in the 2016 primary, according to the court ruling. At one point, Snipes' office wanted to charge $71,868 to sort and produce the ballots for inspection according to documents filed in the case. That's like you going somewhere, you wanted to do something, and because they don't want you to do it, they charge you because they don't want to tell you that they don't want you to do it. We want you to create a disincentive. We don't want you to tell you no. We just want you to create a disincentive. At that point, Canova sued. This is just giving context on what took place prior. And when they destroy the ballots. Under long-standing federal law, ballots cast in a federal race aren't supposed to be destroyed until 22 months after the election. And under state law and public records sought in a court case is not supposed to be destroyed without a judge's order. Also, state law says public records can't be for a period of 30 days after the date on which the written request was served. Essentially, you can't destroy those within 30 days of the written request. Snipes' office, however, contended that it made high-quality digital copies of the ballots, so the ballots weren't completely destroyed. The judge was not persuaded. I'm not persuaded either. The court finds the defendants in violation twofold. Violation of state and federal retention requirements, and number two, violation of the affirmative responsibility to preserve evidence. Signal wrote, the court finds such premature destruction of the records unlawful in violation of Public Records Act. Snipes argued in court that Canova made unreasonable requests and believed she had broad discretion in determining if a records request is reasonable, according to the suit. He wanted to see the ballots. He wanted to see the ballots. How's that unreasonable? But Signal said her argument was contrary to the statutory requirements and plain and ordinary meaning of the public records. She's like, but he made ridiculous requests. And the judge is like, that's kind of besides the point. You're still bound by federal and state law. Love it. Question becomes consequences. What are the consequences? We don't know whether or not that election was cheated from Canova. How can we know? The ballots have been destroyed. We have no idea what that election looked like. Shouldn't there be consequences to dissuade people from behaving in this way again? Assume for the moment, just pretend for the moment, there was some connection between Canova or between Schultz and the crook or incompetent person who was in Broward election chief. Don't you want to create any kind of disincentive between the political actors engaging in behavior like this again? And one of those things would be put the person in prison. They broke the law. There needs to be consequences. And I'm talking about broken a severe law dealing with election integrity. This is a big fucking deal. This is not this guy smokes a bit of pot, that guy snorts a bit of coke, where it's only affecting that particular individual. This is somebody is breaking the law from the standpoint of our elections. Our elections that decide the representatives who are going to lead and take those people from point A to point B, meaning the people who we decide to lead us, the people who we decide to make law, to manage our particular society, whether it's state, federal, or otherwise. I'm not going to keep this long. 10 minutes is long enough to talk about this. But good job, Tim Canova. Good job, Tim Canova's lawyers. And for that matter, good job on the judge for calling a spade, for saying that orange looks like an orange. That person destroyed those ballots, and it broke federal and state law. Good job. I'm going to put this article at the bottom. You guys can see it for yourself. And I will see you all shortly. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. And, of course, you can always support through Patreon. And, again, Tim Canova, good fucking job. Thanks, guys.